It's Tuesday night. And I'm well aware that you all know what it means by now. But just in case there was any confusion, you look right over here. It's the NFL Matchup Madness. And tonight, as always, we'll be covering all the games that are going to be played. Now, we've hit week 6, which means we're going to have some buys. So you may not see your favorite contributor on tonight, but that's okay. We're going to have so much wonderfulness for you, you won't even miss them this week. And they'll be back next week. And if your favorite contributor is on, awesome. But ladies and gentlemen, as always, joined over here on the side by my co-host.
What up, what up?
And we're going to go ahead and hop into the first game of the week.
Yes, sir.
And that's going to be my man, Couch Coach, our Commanders contributor. And we'll also be discussing the matchup he has with the Chicago Bears on Thursday night. So, Couch Coach, what's going on, man? Can you hear me, Couch Coach?
East, man. You know how it is, cool.
Hey, I've been there before. I'm not going to try to act like I ain't never been there. It's lonely at the bottom.
Oh, man.
But, hey, man, you know.
I said,
it happens,
hey, just leave me some cheese and crackers.
Just leave
me some cheese and crackers and some water.
I know that. I understand that, brother. You know, so, Couch Coach, you know, obviously we're going to ask you a few questions about both teams, but there's something that I want you to discuss for me real quick. Talk to me about how you feel at this point going into week 6 about Carson the Commander.
I think Carson's one of those where he's put in such a bad predicament, almost like previous quarterbacks we've had. And, you know, I want to say last decade or so, or hell, 30, honestly, where I think Carson has the ability. Obviously, even even last week, I think he had a pretty good week. Last week he had 359 passing yards. His obviously is high as a Commander. Obviously the tough play, obviously, and the goal line stands, that interception at the end. I think he's just one of those where I think his coach, I think Scott Turner's failing him. I mean, obviously, and then that line is failing them. You look at just how that line is, and it's just a makeshift line week in and week out, and they're just not getting the protection for Carson because Carson can put up the numbers. You just need to give him an opportunity to take care of business, and I think his coaches are failing him more so than anything.
That's fair enough. So, how do you feel about the comments that your head coach made when he said it was one of your deficiencies, and he basically said quarterback?
It's asinine. I mean, it's to a point where you're the one that brought him here. Like, and I talk about this on my podcast.
You're right.
Who, like, now think about it. Who's gonna buy Halloween candy on Halloween night at 11:50, and knowing that you can get Halloween candy for 50% off in 30 some more minutes? And that's what happened with this case. Y'all got desperate at the 11th hour, right before free agency. Oh, we need to go and trade for him. We know Indianapolis was going to just get rid of him, or we could have got him for pennies on the dime. But no, you wanted to get rid of draft capital and all this. This is your fault. So to me, it may be just his situation of him trying to kind of, build his confidence up. But I'm like, no, that's not. You don't do that to especially a guy like Carson Wentz. There's players that you can do that, and we all know Carson Wentz, when it comes from a mental standpoint, that's the worst thing that you can do in that case. Cool. All right, enough of that. But yeah. but that's where, when it comes to leadership, knowing, hey, I can't do that for Carson Wentz. I can't say that he's the reason why we're 1-4. I can't do that to him. His confidence is already rattled. When he played a great game last week and fell short and made a bonehead in the sense play, and then you're gonna pile it on even more. So I thought that was the wrong message.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, I wanted to get your take on that because those are some things I know that stuck out to me as far as with Carson Wentz, and I definitely agree that, like you said, when you bring in certain quarterbacks, there are certain things you kind of get to the point where you're like, okay, I know if this is what's happening, so it's pretty much like, yo, it is what it is. So I definitely agree that you got to kind of take that on the chin to protect your quarterback if you know the type of quarterback that you have. So that's fine. Just got to be more precise with that. But talk to me now about your feelings on this game with the Chicago Bears, which I do believe is a 50-50 game. So talk to me about your feelings on the game and what you think can happen for you to win and what can happen for you guys to not win.
Yeah, I think this is a perfect opportunity for this team because obviously coming off a heartbreaking loss against Tennessee 48 hours ago, and now to kind of come back and go on the road and take care of business. I think this is a great opportunity for them to, hey, let's just throw away, what happened Sunday and take care of business and give ourselves somewhat of a bye week, in a sense. I think essentially, essentially kind of what you did last week. I think Carson Wentz, like I talked about earlier, was very efficient. And also you look at that the wide receiver core once again is stepping up, and you have that multitude of playmakers on the side. We had a guy, De'Ami Brown, our Tobacco Road guy. He did his thing. And so, like you seeing where you have that depth in the wide receiver position, you got playmakers there. Obviously without having Jahan in the lineup, De'Ami stepped up big time in that game. Still got Curtis Samuel also and Terry as well. So I look at it, give him a nice steady dose. And I think Chicago's corners they're good. Obviously, you definitely can't discount like guys like Eddie Jackson and Kendall Vildor. And I think they are solid corners, but I still think we can, once again, I think in a lot of these games that we'll be talking about throughout the year, that I think have an advantage as far as our wide receiver core. Defensively, I think last week was very encouraging. Obviously, Montez Sweat fell on the floor, a sack. He looked great. And then also,
Lost you there for a minute. What'd you say? Still there, Couch Coach?
He knew he was dreaming too much.
I'm here. You hear
okay.
me?
Yeah, we can hear you now. We can hear you now.
You hear? You hear me now? Okay. All right. So I talked about the 𝐲𝐻𝐿. So 𝐲𝐻𝐿 with the 15. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely think almost kind of the recipe that we did last week. And I think the biggest thing with us, I think as a team, just be more, creative offensively. You got 4 wide receivers that are literally the same. Like, to me, diversified. Like, don't always have Terry on the outside. Let him run across. Let him run, inside. Let him be creative. You got 4 wide receivers. Well, really more than 4, but the main 4 that are literally they're twins in a sense that as far as their capability. No one really has a specific specialty. So I look at that. We can diversify that offense. And I think we have a great opportunity, especially for a guy like a Justin Fields. The thing with him is he's starting to kind of get his way. And I think he's starting to develop into a pretty decent quarterback. I think the biggest thing with us, we got to get turnovers. This is another team where I'm just like, I still can't believe we only had 1 turnover. And our last turnover was in week 1. We've almost gone a whole calendar month without turnovers. And you're not going to win football games if you don't, turn the ball over. Considering the fact, cool, don't laugh, but when you have a quarterback that can throw a few interceptions here and there in the game, it's not going to bode well. So you got to force turnovers. Yeah. So, I definitely think Justin Fields, if we can get to him, I know he's had a great game last week against Minnesota. I think his last 3 games, he haven't thrown an interception. So if we can get some interceptions and kind of get some turnovers, I think we can win the game. But I think if we were to lose this game, it's going to be plain and simple. Like, if we don't get no rush to Justin Fields if we let guys like Montgomery, Herbert beat us, and then if that wide receiver core, which is pretty much destitute at best. I mean, obviously, Darnell Mooney, Velus Jones, Cole Kmet. Well, I don't think, So it's just like kind of like, it's, if they beat us, I mean, I think that's how they could potentially beat us. Like if they get us offensively and our defense lacks, but I definitely think we have a legitimate shot. It's probably the next time we'll probably favorite. Well, not favorite, but as far as a favorable matchup in our corner for at least for the foreseeable future. So
that's fair. That's fair. Well, man, I hope you guys do. All jokes aside, seriously, I hope you guys do show up for the primetime game. Like you said, I think this is a matchup where you have a good opportunity to also be successful, because this is a team that also, is developing, is building. They have some deficiencies. So I think when you look at the matchup, you say, but I think you're going to actually see a good game if you have the patience to watch, because I think you have two very even teams. So you have two very even teams, you normally get a good game, right? The problem is when you have one really good team, one really bad team, or one team that's more talented than the other. But I think normally when you have about an even matchup, give or take, you normally have pretty decent, matchups. So I think this will be a pretty decent matchup, and I think it'll surprise some people with how good it is, because the teams are pretty consistent. Cedric, anything from you, sir?
I just want to say it can't be more exciting than last Thursday.
Yeah.
Overtime.
We owe America. We
y'all
owe
do
America
owe us.
For a good game. Yeah.
Y'all do owe us. You and the Bears owe us. You have a responsibility
for sure.
to us.
For sure.
To make the casual fan want to watch Thursday night football,
right?
Yeah.
And canceling the Prime memberships.
Right.
And Prime does itself no favors on top of that. Just want to throw that out there.
Correct.
But yeah, Couch Coach, we appreciate you, man. Glad you were able to come on. And definitely make sure you hop in the comments so that everybody know where to find you. And we look forward to seeing you again next week, bro.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it, fellas. All right.
Easy.
All right. So for the next game, we're just going to give a little bit of our thoughts here quickly, on this next matchup. And that's going to be the Patriots. Sorry about that, guys. Got hung up for a second. The Patriots and the Browns. I think the Browns have been playing better than most people thought, especially without having their Deshaun Watson there, their guy. A couple of comments here I'm going to throw up real quick. Appreciate that, Snowman. But I think they've been playing better than most people expected, right? They've been kind of getting it. They've been kind of doing what they need to do to be successful. Most people thought they would probably, and I include myself in most people probably thought the Browns would be 500 or worse. But they've actually shown that they can still run the ball. Brissett can make the throws that need to be made. He doesn't make all the throws, but he can make the ones that need to be made. They have Amari Cooper, who has shown himself to be a number one when he's not playing with the Black Kirk Cousins. And I think it's it's interesting. Defense is pretty solid, so there's a lot that they have going for them. When you look on the other side, it's interesting. It's interesting to say the least, and that's not a bad thing. So the Patriots, they're like two teams in one. Some weeks they come out and you're like, oh man, that team looks to be developing. That team looks pretty good. And then some weeks you come out and you think you're playing utter garbage, like they should have been in the game last Thursday.
Who's the quarterback?
So you don't know. Oh, it's I don't think Mac Jones is back yet.
I don't think.
But even last week, I mean, they looked good last week, without him. So it's weird because it's like they have so many other pieces that they can grind out wins. It just depends on how they show up. It's a little early in the week. We really don't know if he's going to be back yet. I'm just going to assume he's going to be out this week. But Cedric, I'll let you give your thoughts on the game, man, and then I'll talk about who I think will win.
Oh man, the Browns and the Patriots, they both suck. Nah, nah, but I don't know, man. I see the Browns taking this one because they do have that rushing attack. They do have that solid, their rushing group has been together for what, 3 years now. So I feel like they've been leaning heavily on especially Nick Chubb and Hunt. So yeah, I mean, I see the Browns just kind of edging this one out. It probably will kind of be a slow, nasty game. But I definitely see them pulling the win out this week.
I'm gonna take the other side, and I'm gonna say I think the Patriots are gonna win this game. I don't know why. Without Mac Jones, I mean, even with Mac Jones, everyone knows me knows I'm not a huge Mac Jones guy. I think they're gonna find a way to win the game this week. I think they've got enough in the running game. Their defense is a little bit better, and Hoyer can make the throws. And we see that he has a unique connection with Jacoby Myers, at least for this past week. So, that those things can make a difference. When you got one guy that can make big plays, you've got a good running game. You've got some other guys that, like Parker, like, dare I even say it, Jalen Reed. I mean, I feel like they're the same person, right? I feel like Nelson Aguilar and Jalen Reed are really the same person, but Nelson Aguilar, they can make some plays in the passing game. They've got some decent tight ends. So I think the Patriots can get a tight victory here. I'm not going to echo the sentiments here that were made by Snowman in the Morning, where they said 444-3.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, I'm not going to go there, but I'm going to say, maybe 21-13.
Oh, man.
Yeah, something like that. So, it's not I don't think it's going to be that exciting of a game. We talk about how we have teams with different skill levels. I feel like the Patriots are more skilled, but it's the defense. So we'll see how it plays out. It's
battle of the backups.
Yeah, it's not a game that I don't think anyone's excited about seeing, right? I don't think anybody's like, oh gosh, this game's coming on. I just can't wait until this game's played or anything of that nature. But I do think that it should be a solid game, especially if you're fans of the team. If there's nothing else on your area and that's your game, I'd watch it, right? But if I had Sunday Ticket or an app to watch it on or a sports bar to go to, and I wasn't a fan of the team, I definitely think I could find somewhere else to watch that game. But hey,
I mean, this is an interesting time. We'll see. Teams are trying to squeeze out these wins here and there where they are playing against these other teams, that aren't necessarily at top form. So it'll be interesting to see the outcome of this game because, I mean, the way the AFC is looking, it could totally have, an impact on the playoffs for sure, too. So I think there'll be a couple people watching it.
Yeah, I definitely feel you, man. I definitely feel you.
Oh,
we're going to go ahead. No, you're on. We're going to go ahead and hop over to the next matchup where we have both of our reps here. We're going to have the Indianapolis Colts versus the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Oof.
What's up, fellas?
Wow. How's it going, Stewart? How's it going, guys?
What up?
Feeling good, gentlemen. How you doing? Hey, sorry if I was running a little late. I was rushing to get my Bailey Zappi jersey so I can wear it while he faces former Patriot backup Jacoby Brissett. Woo! Reunited. I'm so stoked.
Hey, I hear you all talking crap about last Thursday's game. All right, hey, just because we were in a boring game doesn't mean some of us didn't enjoy the win, right?
Y'all didn't win that. We lost that game. You guys did not win that.
They didn't deserve to win.
I'm just going to actually turn this one over to Cedric and let him run it. I'm just going to say before then, I'm just going to simply say that was a tough game to watch as a football fan.
As a Colts fan, it was a tough game to watch.
I need you guys to be better in prime time because you killing us with the casual audience with that game, man.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess, man. Yeah, just start off. So, I mean, we see what happened last Thursday, and I feel like there's kind of been a positive feeling towards Trevor Lawrence over there in Jacksonville.
Well,
Stuart, what do you think? What do you think the Jags have to do to pull this out?
You could say that, Sid, but as much as ragging on Stu about Thursday night, I'm going to cut you off, but it's not like the Jags game was a whole lot hotter either.
Exactly.
Okay?
Yeah.
This isn't exactly a romp in the end zone, fellas. I'm just going to throw that out. Go on.
Yeah.
All right. Just want to make sure that.
I mean, the Jags can just do what they did on what they did week 3, and I think that's a repeated formula. I mean, you held Jonathan Taylor, who was injured last week, didn't play in the Thursday night game. We don't know how clear he's going to be. They held him to 54 yards fully healthy. Ashton Doolin, who had the most receiving yards at 5 receptions and 79 yards, is hurt. He's actually done for the year. I believe they just put him on IR. So, there's that. Michael Pittman's the guy there, but Michael Pittman was pretty much shut down. And then I know Trevor Lawrence is better than this guy, but I've always said, if Blake Bortles played the Colts and the Patriots every year, and that was all he played, 16 games a year, the guy would have been a first ballot Hall of Famer. And it looks like Trevor Lawrence is starting to be the same way. The more he plays the Colts, the more I'm convinced this guy is what I said he was, and that's the second coming of Andrew Luck. But for me, I just think they got to play the way that they play week 3, and it's all over for Indianapolis, because Indianapolis right now is averaging 14 points per game, which I believe is 32nd in the NFL in scoring. And that's not a great look for the Indianapolis Colts and a supposed offensive guru in Frank Reich.
No, listen, a lot of good points there. Pittman, I think, was actually out for the Jags game and previously. So, I think that was another situation why you guys had trouble putting points on the board. But another name I'm watching, Stu, if I'm looking for this game, and by the way, thank you for coming aboard. It's not that I don't like _𝐶𝐶, but it's cooler to have a Colts guy to interact with. So thanks for coming in tonight, man. But where I'm at is another name that I haven't heard you mention that I'm curious about is DeForest Buckner. His status and the ability to stop that run game, whether it be Robinson or Tyler Eifert, which, by the way, hey, listen, came on a little bit last time, and when he did so, the Jags couldn't turn it into points. Figure that out. I'll put it this way. In a game where the most premier thing I was there to see was being on the field at halftime for Tony Baselli's Hall of Fame ring dedication and the retirement of his number, that should tell you everything you need to know. By the way, it was bookended by 2 halves of football that were awful to watch. And yeah, Trevor Lawrence's inability to hit receivers that day was rough, but gentlemen, let's not forget there were quite a few drops. Oh, but Kyle, he threw some high. He totally did. And Zay Jones also had a number in his hands, as did Evan Ingram, who have both been among the top 4 receivers on the squad this year, yet did not come out and form that game. If Etienne comes back and does his business, the receivers catch, and maybe, just maybe, Trevor doesn't let one sail on him again. It should be a good day, whether or not Matt Ryan throws 5 interceptions. So at the end of the day, Stu, I think a lot of what you said matters here too, but I think this is a coming back to form game for Trevor Lawrence. And if they don't, it's going to be a big problem. The Jags continue to build on giving up only 16 points allowed per game on defense.
Okay. Stuart, man, how do you think the Colts are going to bounce back from last week, especially with, Jonathan Taylor is still questionable right now, right?
I think he's good to go. Here's the question just becomes, are you getting a JT at 80%, which a JT at 80% is better than most backs in the league at 100%. But the point is, are you getting a JT at 80% or are you getting a JT at 100? We'll find out come Sunday. But here's the question. What upset me the most was I watched them on Thursday night with backup running backs put these backup running backs in space and give guys like Deion Jackson and Phillip Lindsay some space to operate. And that's what I've been screaming and yelling for them to do with JT all year. But it's like when JT's there and they see an 8-man box, they're like, oh, let's run up the gut. Instead of, dialing up some screen passes or getting him out in space where he can do some damage. They did that with Phillip Lindsay on Thursday night. They did that with Deion Jackson on Thursday night. And I'm confused as to why you do it with the guys who are, one, who's third on your list, the other one who you just called up for the practice squad, but yet the guy who literally led the league in rushing last year was the best player at his position last season. You can't find a way to get into space. It's another Frank Reich thing that us Colts fans are still trying to figure out that he does. We'll find out. They're 14th in the league, or they're 32nd in the league in scoring at 14 points per game. It's just, it's a rough time to be a Colts fan. And let me say this, I know Couch Coach is probably not too happy with Carson Wentz being his quarterback, but they were 9th in the league in scoring with Carson Wentz. They're 32nd in the league in scoring with Matt Ryan. I'm just going to leave that out there.
There's another quarterback out there other than Carson that makes Stu wince. No, I follow with that. Listen, I just wanted to make the dad joke, Stu. I'm sorry. But with all that in mind, listen, you covered a lot of good stuff there. I will see what you said about Jonathan Taylor. Do I think he's the best at his position? No, I got Dalvin Cook, but at least Taylor stayed on the field. And to your point, though, not the best at his position, maybe not, but certainly an MVP candidate last year. That cannot be denied, and I don't think we talked about it enough, so I want to make sure to give him credit, despite the fact I'm arguing for the other side here. And obviously, that's what the Jags need to do. Part of the reason they drafted Trayvon Walker, and everybody talked trash on it, was for him to rush the passer, sure, but it was for him to have the agility and strength to block, to handle stopping the run as well. There's this other guy you might have heard of in the divisions too, Derek, they call him King, that guy. Yeah, Henry. Yeah. That's important as well in the division. That's why you guys got Buckner from the 49ers. Let's be real. So, I see a lot of success there for that defense and defensive front. Why am I talking about them so much? Because there's a lot of people that need to be writing Christmas cards to the Jacksonville organization after saying they were the worst of the 32 in the first round. So, I'm just saying.
Okay. Well, we see where you are, man. Well, shoot. Any last thoughts, I guess, to go along with that, Kyle?
I mean, listen, the Jags have to get back into play. They all knew in that locker room that this was one that they let get away. I don't know what it is about the Texans, just the same that Stu doesn't know what it is about the Jags. That was the 9th straight Texans loss by the Jaguars. And goodness gracious, don't get the laugh in. It's worthwhile, my friend. But with all that in play, the best way to bounce back is to go to Indy, come out with a W. Granted, you got a London game in there, which is basically a home turf for Shad Khan. We know that. So get the Broncos and Raiders out of the way. Be prepared to take the loss from KC going into the bye. Get there at 5-5 with 2 wins in the division. That's not a bad look. The Jags just need to hold serve.
Stu, any last thoughts for you?
I think, the one thing Kyle was focused on was DeForest Buckner. I think another key thing, he wasn't there week 3. I don't think he's going to be there this week either. And that was that's Shaq Leonard. Used to be Darius Leonard, but Shaq Leonard. Shaq, what he did a very good job of last year and in important games was you always in the games where you were like, okay, the Colts are starting to go downhill. They need a momentum switch here. They need somebody to intercept the football or punch the football out. Shaq always came up in those big moments. He hasn't been there all season. He played 1 game, broke his nose, and I'm not sure how much longer he's going to be out. So without that, this defense will continue, I think, to struggle. And Trevor Lawrence will continue to have a heyday, I think, because that guy who's there to force those turnovers and force the mistakes isn't in the lineup. They are playing at home. They're not playing in Jacksonville, so I feel a little bit better about this. But, yeah, I mean, if you had to ask me, I think I haven't picked the Colts much this season. I picked them versus Houston and almost lost, but I think I'm going to go Indianapolis 24-21.
Stu, listen, I get it. I think it'll be that close too. I put the picture up on the painting so you understand my bias of why I left Shaq Leonard out. That's my bad, and it's a good call by you. So listen, all the way around with that, I think it's not going to be a shutout. Certainly, I think it'll be closer. I don't have 24-21, but you'll take 24-18, and I have the Jags pulling it out. Call me a homer if you like, but listen, I cover the team. I'd like to attend a playoff game in Duval. I'm selfish. What can I say?
Duval. Cool.
Well, guys, appreciate you hopping on with us this week. Make sure you hop in the comments on YouTube. Let everybody know where to find you. Hopefully we'll have both you guys back next week. And good luck to both of you on the game this Sunday.
Me too. I can't wait to do this with Couch Coach. That's gonna be a fun one.
I'll put it down. Hey, I saw you on Patton's show too. You did a good job there as well, Stu.
Thanks.
All right, guys. See you next week.
Thanks, guys.
And we're to our lone lady on the program here.
Yeah.
And as usual, nobody wants to conversate with you. I don't know what's going on, Val.
I can't even say much because that was me last week. I was missing in action last week out there shooting a movie, trying to get into Hollywood.
Well, man, some things, sometimes things happen that cause our availability to not be there.
Yeah,
but how are you doing?
I'm good. I can't complain. We won last week, so that's always a good feeling. Hopefully get another dub this week against the Bengals. It's a tall order, but I think we can squeak it out.
I just want to say I'm very torn, Val, because I enjoy the Saints, right? The Saints got a good fan base. You have a quarterback that I'd like to see be successful. But we have your first round pick next year.
I know.
So I'm torn. I'm like, I'm happy for them when they win, but I'm not upset if you happen to drop an L because it's like, cool,
Man, we gave y'all a first round pick and arguably the best defensive player on our whole side. I'm mad. I'm still
so that's mad. That's what I'm saying. That's why I can't be but so negative. You know what I'm saying? Because you have helped us out. So it's like, I want the good pick.
Pity for us.
It's not pity. You know what I'm saying? It's appreciation. You know what I'm saying?
I can't even be mad. I feel the same way, I'm sure.
All right, so Val, what are y'all gonna do this week to get this win? And do you have any updates on what's happening at the quarterback position? Are we gonna see Taysom Hill back there this week? Are we gonna see Dalton? Is Jameis gonna take a few shots in that back and strap on a metal exoskeleton to get out there? What we're gonna have this week?
Man, I personally wouldn't mind seeing Andy Dalton back there again, simply because he makes better decisions with the ball. He uses Alvin Kamara how he's supposed to be used. Like, Alvin Kamara is a phenomenal pass catching running back. Use him. Jameis doesn't do that. We've seen time and time again, Jameis just leaves him wide open when you could have dumped it off for a check down or a design play to throw to Kamara, and he just doesn't do it. He'd rather throw into tight windows instead of dumping it off to Kamara, who will make plays in open space. Like, y'all seen the guy. He's elusive as hell, and Jameis just doesn't see it. Andy Dalton, however, does, and we seen it this week. Alvin Kamara had a 100-yard game. You know what I'm saying? Like, use the man.
Well, there's a reason why
to not get used. Like, come on, son.
There's a reason why they call him about 30 for 30 when you talk about
James.
There's a reason.
Yeah.
Hey, legendary.
He really make boneheaded decisions. And I mean, Andy Dalton, he ain't, God's gift to QBs. He got his issues too, but I feel like he is the better choice because he makes fewer bad decisions than Jameis. If we don't go with somebody, let it be Andy.
Who else is there to throw it to, though, besides Kamara?
That's another thing. We got to get our guys healthy. Michael Thomas hurt. We just lost Deontay Hardy. Jarvis was hurt this game. It's like
Olave got hurt. He was having a great fantasy game for me until he got hurt.
Same. Between him and Kelsey. That's how I won my fantasy.
Oh, man, I lost. Whatever.
My two players last night was between Kelsey and Josh Jacobs, and I saw Josh Jacobs was eating last night, and I was like, how the hell am I going to win with Kelsey? And here come Kelsey with 4 TDs. I couldn't believe it. But back to the subject. For us to win, we got to limit turnovers. We've been turning the ball over entirely way too much this season already. We also got to show some discipline. Like, we've been giving away like 100 yards almost every game in penalties. Like, come on, son. Like, that's unacceptable. And a lot of that is just, you're not disciplined. Marshawn Lattimore is having a down year, I'll say. He part of the reason why we have a lot of those penalties and whatnot. So also we ain't been getting to the QBs. We got out of all of the games, we probably have 6 or 7 sacks as a team. That's weak to me. But it is what it is. We don't have a terrible record. It's still very much early, but we gotta tighten up all around, both sides of the ball.
All right, so you kind of said a little bit of this, but Bengals, what do they do to ensure victory?
Shit, if they could give protection to Burrow, they'll eat us alive. Give that man some time. He'll carve you. He got a really nice wide receiving core. So I mean, you can't let him sit back there and camp out in the pocket. He's gonna shred us apart. Okay. And I mean, you can't even really count out Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon is having a great year, I would say. And they got a talented tight end too. Like we got to get to Joe Burrow, and we haven't been getting the QBs, and that's what I'm concerned about. Because I mean, it's crazy. Even like up until this game, we've been having like Saints fans torn, with the whole Joe Burrow, Ja'Marr Chase. They went to LSU. People love them. They want to see them do good, but at the same time, they're Saints fans. But you also have a large amount of Saints fans that's from Mississippi or from Alabama who don't care nothing about LSU. So they like, nah, I don't care nothing about no Joe Burrow, Ja'Marr Chase, none of them cats. But I just hope we have some discipline, limit turnovers, and just be smart with the ball. I think we've seen the Bengals. They haven't been super impressive this year. Even though they have all that talent, they haven't really been doing a whole lot.
That is true. That is very true. It's one of the things that a lot of people talked about the Bengals team. Just a little bit more has been expected of them than what they've been able to put out so far. So definitely agree with you on that particular point. Hope things are a little interesting between the two teams. Like I said, personally, Saints is kind of like, I enjoy you winning, but I've got a vested interest in a good draft pick as well.
Yeah, I don't blame you at all.
So I'm a little torn, just a tad bit.
Yeah, I'm a Saints fan, but I'm also a fan of the game, so I respect why you're torn. I get it. It's all good. I hope we can squeak this one out though, because we need it. We're number 2 in the division. We're not that far behind the Bucs. It's still early, like I said. I feel like at week 7 or 8, we'll know more about where we stand. But as of right now, we need all the dubs we can, as anybody in the league, actually. Except Philly. Philly can stand to take an L or two.
Hey.
It's coming.
This matchup is y'all. This is Cincinnati, you know what I'm saying, and the Saints. Why are we talking about the Eagles wins and losses here? You know what I'm saying?
Hey, everybody, y'all case because y'all the only undefeated team.
Right.
Only right.
According to everyone, no matter who it is we play, when we win, we don't beat anybody. Now, when we lose, I want to see what they say. But every team we beat, you haven't beat anybody. So we'll see how that goes.
Well, I'm gonna tell you right now, I disagree with that. I think Philly looks really good this year on both sides of the ball. So hats off until January or whenever that is we play y'all.
I feel you on that. There's a couple of teams that I'm just like whatever, but for the most part, I enjoy just watching and seeing what everybody's got going on.
Yep, I'm a fan of the game, baby.
It's the only true way to be. It's a lot of good teams out there. It's a lot of great players. So it really kind of behooves you to enjoy the game overall.
Yeah, absolutely. It's fun that way.
I definitely agree.
This should be an interesting game, though. I feel like it'll be a good get back game for the Saints. Try to get some turnovers.
Got to get turnovers and not give turnovers. That's the key probably to the game, honestly.
You do make a great point. You do definitely make a great point there. So, Val, of course, always a pleasure when we're able to get you on here with us.
Yep. I'll see y'all next week. Thanks for having me, as
Yep.
always.
Yep.
Oh, for sure. Make sure you hop
Bye.
in those comments and let everybody know where they can find you.
Yes, sir.
All right. All right. So, guys, we're going to go ahead and hop over to our next matchup. Our second rep should be here in a moment if he's not here already. Actually, he is here. So let me make a quick little change here, and we're going to go ahead and get him on. But Peyton, while I'm doing that, how's it going today, man?
Hey, man, it's going great today. Today's a good day. You know,
Yes, sir.
I'm off the edge. You know what I mean? I'm off the edge. And I got both feet back on the ground, and I'm back to common sense. You know, so yes, good day. Tuesdays are a great day. Tuesdays are a great day unless you play Monday Night Football, but you know, you need that day to kind of recoup when you lose 38-3.
I could definitely understand that. And we also have joining us Mr. Owens himself, Ty Owens. What's going on, man?
Hey.
So, yeah, man, then we got both of you guys on. As last time, go ahead and let Cedric take over here and run through this matchup. Get y'all guys right.
What game is this?
This should be Steelers and
this should be Steelers and still in the Bucks.
Oh, I don't.
Yeah, the Chiefs playing the Bills.
Oh, I got the wrong team up there. My bad, guys.
Yeah, man.
You put the guy up there who's playing.
I saw red.
Payne was about to run.
Look, I saw red. I was like, oh yeah. Okay.
Had me confused. I was like, wait, this is the wrong game.
Yeah, well,
that's gonna be a good one though. That's gonna be a good one.
That's gonna be a good game. My bad, guys.
That might be.
No, you're good. My bad. I was just on mute.
Got my got ahead of myself there.
That's the highlight game for the week.
Yup.
I don't know. Philly and Dallas too, right? So who knows, right?
Oh yeah.
So.
Oh yeah. But yeah, Peyton. So yeah, we don't have our Bucks guy here, so
yeah, man.
Go ahead and take it over here.
You know, so once again, after coming off this, you know, this horrendous defeat, we're back, you know, I'm humbled this week, man. You know, I ain't even put the Steeler jersey on. I'm not even in the Steeler cave today. You see, I'm in the living room, man, just collecting my thoughts. And
hey,
you know,
listen, we have all been there. You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't there at the moment, but you know, I've been there multiple times. Last season.
Now you can say that now.
Yeah,
you undefeated.
I was there last season, so I know the feeling.
Yeah, the truth is, man, I mean, we're such a young team. And this is the first time in 18 years we haven't had our quarterback. We don't have 7, right? So there's going to be some, we understand, at least the real Steeler fans understand, there's going to be some growing pains here. But there's some hope, man. It's like when Luke Skywalker and Obi-Wan got back together, man. There's some hope, you know. Hey, Kenny Pickett looked good. You know, he looked like he's the real deal. He looked like he's ready to come out and fight. And hopefully he can inspire that talent that we have to kind of do the same. You know, Buffalo's just tough. There's not too many teams in the league right now that I believe that could challenge Buffalo. And we're definitely not one of them this year. Now, moving on to this next team with Tampa Bay, you know, we get the GOAT. Right. And I think we have a chance after seeing that, you know, that Falcons game for last week. I think we have a shot. They're not as invincible as like Buffalo looks. Right. There's some things there. Now, the hard part is what? You can't touch Tom Brady, right? Or you get 15 yards, especially at the end of the game.
Listen, man.
So don't throw him down. Don't just hold him every time you get close to him. And we might have a chance, but Tom is 9-3 against us. You know, when he was with the Patriots, they've always kind of had their way with us. The 3 times, you know, we beat them 3 times, but those were close games and playoff games. Those when we went to the Super Bowl. Most of those times, 2 of those times when we went to the Super Bowl. So it's going to be a tough game. Evans Goodwin looks well. He looks like that hamstring or whatever was bothering him isn't really bothering him that much anymore. So he looked well this week. Michael Evans is always the threat, especially with our secondary being so banged up. We have so many backups in our secondary. Mika's not, he's not 100%. He's lipping around out there on the field. We don't have any of our starting corners, man. Like we're kind of suspect in the back end. TJ's still out. Then he just had a knee surgery, so hopefully that doesn't push his time back a little bit further. They said it shouldn't, but you just never know. He just got it cleaned up, and we got to get Deontay out of the media running his mouth, right? He's talking about the fans and telling them if y'all can do better, come play. Well, Deontay, stop dropping the balls, because a lot of our games will be. We would have been in some of these games better when he had those drops. There was a couple drops that he had. Kenny rolled to the right, had him right in the middle of the field to keep the play going. They hit him in both his hands and it went straight through it. Then he has to learn how to make those legs go dead a little bit faster when he's on those sidelines, right? He's like an inch out for making these spectacular catches, but he can't catch the ones that hit him in the chest. So it should be an interesting game. Najee's not looking at 100%. I believe his foot's still bothering him, if you ask me. And our running game's not giving. They're giving him some holes, but he's not seeing them. Something's off with Najee this year. But I think something's off with my whole team in all 3 facets this year. Boz, who's usually reliable, missed 2 field goals in the Buffalo game. There's just things like that are happening. Me can get the ball taken from him, even though he had it in his arms. So it's a rough season, but I think we need one. To be honest, I think we got too hype on this no losing season over 15-year deal for Mike Tomlin, but that always puts us in the middle of the pack. I would like to be up in that top 5 or top 10 for a moment and just see what type of game changer we could get out of those top picks. And that nobody ever wants to say that, but man, just thinking we could get a Chase Young or somebody out of it. One of these real defensive players that could change the game. That would definitely. What's that dude out of Georgia that came out, Thibodeau or whatever, down in Jacksonville?
Oh yeah,
yeah, right. Like some game changers out here, and we need some.
Yeah, he's definitely a game changer. You're right about that.
So hopefully Kenny takes the next step, man, and we could get at least 7 on the board. We'll be happy with that, and maybe we'll push Tom Brady and he'll fall apart in pieces, and we'll see who their backup is.
That'd be good.
Yeah, I'm always for Tom Brady falling to pieces, sir.
Yeah. So am I.
Yeah, you could give me the Cowboys against the Bucks, and if Tom Brady falls to pieces and it means the Cowboys win, I'll take it.
Yeah, I mean, there's just something about the NFL and that guy, man. Like they're overly protective of him, and I mean, even after he got sacked, he tried to kick the guy. They don't even call that, but they call roughing the pass on him.
The Falcons were robbed.
The Falcons was robbed. I definitely agree.
The referee should no longer be allowed to call NFL games after the egregious call. Period.
Yeah. They got to do something with this, right? And I'm sure y'all have seen all the sports shows like I have, whether it's a instant replay and really getting a good look at it or what. But those 2 calls, the one on from last night on Carr and then this one on him, they're just ridiculous. So, but meanwhile, my quarterback got hit low in the leg at the end of the game and then got hit sliding. No flags at all, so.
I'm not even going to talk about my quarterback and how he's allowed to get punished and there's no calls. We're not even going to talk about that.
Yeah, it's amazing how that happens sometimes, right? Like there's, because Cam Newton was the same way. He could run around and get hit and no one cared. And Josh Allen is starting to get some of those as well, where they're just not caring. Now he runs too much, if you ask me, but there's certain hits that you probably just shouldn't do on a quarterback, I guess. But
yeah, very true.
I wish I had more to tell you about my team this week, but after what we just took, man, I don't know what else to say. I almost came on here with a bag over my head, man. I just couldn't find one.
I'm glad you didn't do that, man. It wasn't that bad. You know what I'm saying? It's just one L.
Hey, man, you got to remember, like, when you're part of Steeler Nation, man, we're not used to this. This is like the end of the earth for us, man. Like, we are definitely like, oh, we don't have 7. He can't pull us out of these games. We don't know what it's like to, to be 1-4.
You got Pickett
and look this bad. Yeah, Pickett brought us a championship to Pittsburgh, so we're definitely holding high on him. And so far, he's showing us he can do it. But so did Baker Mayfield when he came out, right? So did all these other quarterbacks when they came out. Baker came out and took the Browns to their first playoff win. And they was crowning him. He had commercials. He lived in the stadium. 2 years later, you trade him to Carolina. Like, even though he played when he was hurt. Yeah, so we'll see what's going on with Kenny. But he looks good. He looks the part right now. And if we could get our running game going and get our defense healthy, I think we'll close this season out stronger than we started.
So, absolutely. Well, Peyton, man, definitely appreciate you coming on.
Yep.
Look forward to see you next week. Please make sure you hop by the comments. Let everybody know where they can find you.
Will do, sirs. I appreciate the time, and I'll be back in the Steeler Cave next week. Head up high with a victory over Tampa Bay.
Fair enough.
Steeler Nation, let's go.
Hey, motivated.
Yes, sir. And then we're going to hop over to our next matchup. It looks like we have one of those representatives. So we're going to go ahead and get that popping off here. And that's going to be the Baltimore Ravens and the New York Giants. And you know what? The way they've been playing lately, we're going to call them the New York Football Giants.
Oh, man.
What's going on, Joseph?
Not much, man. How you doing, guys?
Oh, we're doing good,
awesome.
Man. We're doing good. So talk to us, man.
Who would have thought that this game would be a 4-1 Giants versus a 3-2 Ravens game that actually has some patience going on? I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm excited for this challenge. I think it's going to be a very good game. Yeah, so.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So talk to me about what do you think you guys can do to win this game this week?
Stay the course. I think what happens now, I think the Ravens are playing the long game. You know, if you notice in the game this past Sunday, Ronnie Stanley was in one series, in one series, out one series. J.K. Dobbins is starting to get his carries increased. I think it just stay the course because I think J.K. is due for a over 100, 2+ touchdowns, maybe 30, 40 yards receiving type game. So I'm just ready to see them stay the course and let him try to get off because the more he shows that he can hold up, the more we're going to have to see him get more because we need him to be able to help and, controlling the clock as well as cashing in.
All right. And we have also been joined by the Football Giants contributor, Mr. 𝐋𝐈𝐍𝐿 himself. What is going on today, brother?
So last week, I missed the fact that this Packer fan was talking all this smack about my team, and I was stuck in the back, and I couldn't come on and rep my team. But I guess I'm one of the few that thought we was gonna win, huh?
I guess so, sir. I guess so.
But listen, we got the number 2 rushing game in the NFL, 176 yards per game. Danny Jones isn't turning the ball over. We have a pretty good defense, and we're doing this without receivers. 4-1 without receivers. So imagine if we could get some type of receiving game going with Saquon running the way he is, with Daniel Jones playing like I knew he could play. You just needed to supply him with it. And cool, you know this. I've been saying this on Snowman. I've always been talking. I just won't call him Danny Dimes until he deserves that name. And he's been playing good, man. He's been managing the game. He's been keeping us getting us points, getting key first downs with his legs. He kept us in that Dallas game. 7 rushing first downs. If it wasn't for him,
I got one question, Wise. I got one thing I got to ask you. Is he Danny Nickel yet? Or is he still Danny
Nickel right now? He's Nickels right now. He's
okay,
Nickels.
fair enough. That's an upgrade.
He's an upgrade. It's an upgrade from the penny he was giving him. But no, man, he's been playing real solid. He's actually playing, managing the game. Saquon looks like he's healthy. He came back from the shoulder injury in the game. He was real key, and we finally have a head coach. We had Joe Judge and Pat Shermer, the last two head coaches, and before that, Ben McAdoo. We finally got a head coach that knows what he's doing. We have he knows how to use the talent that's around him. Same way he used Josh Allen in Buffalo. He's kind of using Daniel Jones in that similar way because Daniel Jones is very athletic. He's an athletic quarterback. People don't give him credit. He's got wheels. But he's, like I said, he's holding on to the ball. The interception in Dallas, it was Sills fell down. But key with him is making sure he doesn't turn over the ball and just manage the game. Give the ball to Saquon, and hopefully we get one of our receivers healthy and we get something going.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So, Joe, talk to us about your boy Lamar and what Lamar is going to need to do in order to get a win over this Giants team.
I mean, he's the most player on the field every time he steps on the field. And I think screen game because we have a slot receiver in Devin who in open space can make things whenever he got to get a chance to go around. He gets those first downs when you expect it. So I think with Lamar, they got to get that connection going because I think that connection can kill a lot of teams down as Rashad Bateman is healing because we know the Giants are going to focus on Andrews. He's clearing up Lamar's top target. But, I think Lamar just keeps, you got to play, hit those plays. You're going to get 2 of them every single game. You got to hit those because those were like perfect. And the one thing about Duvernay is Duvernay's catch radius is extremely high. Like he has longer arms than you realize, and he has a great way of high pointing the ball. So like if you get it within his area, he's going to 9 times out of 10 pull it down. We just don't take too many deep shots in his direction. If Bateman was out there, because of Bateman's size, Lamar would have trusted more down the line. I would like Duvernay because I think he's going to be faster than what the Giants are going to throw at him. And we know Wink. We know Wink is about to throw everything to us. Wink's the type of player. Wink's the type of defensive coordinator because he wants to see how good that quarterback's mind is. He wants to see who is he going to think he's going to kind of like because normally they'll have their edge rushers rushing the quarterback, but with Wink's off defense, they could drop back when you least expect it. So he's got to know that he's going to be tested on that. And I think with him having 3 years in Wink's playing against Wink's defense, I think there may be a couple plays that he'll get off on him where Wink's going to get the better of him. But I think Lamar's going to get have good success on Wink's defense. So,
Okay. Well, gentlemen, we'll start with you, Wise. Any last thoughts on the game?
It's going to be a very interesting game. Just like he said, Wink, they know Wink. Wink knows Lamar's weaknesses. It's gonna be who's gonna come. It's gonna, like I know that Giants gonna bring pressure. This is what Wink does. Wink Martindale brings pressure, and we got 2 horses on the edge with Ojulari and Thibodeau. Dexter Lawrence is playing out his mind right now. Name another interior defensive lineman that's been playing as good as Dexter Lawrence this year. So if we can get pressure on Lamar from that with our ends and Dexter keep doing what he's doing up the middle, Hopefully Leonard Williams can play this week. We've been missing him the last 2 weeks. And my concern is our linebacker crew. We don't really have a real big name there, but our secondary's been playing well. And like he said, they come from everywhere. With Winks, he has his corners blitzing, he has his safeties blitzing. You don't know where it's coming from with Winks' defense. So hopefully we can contain Lamar. He don't break out no big runs or whatever, but we have to keep him in the pocket. That's what we can't let him get out and do what he does. And like he said, Andrews is his favorite receiver. We got to try to key up on him, but basically bring the pressure, bring what's been winning for you the last few games.
Fair enough. Same question for you, Joseph. Any quick last thoughts?
But tell you one thing, whoever's coming to be our running back there, they better know the blitz pickup and pick that person up because it's going to reckless with him, and he's right. Winks off defense will have like a strong safety lineup that nose tackle, rushing the quarterback. Then you see the pass coverage change on you. So he got to hit his target. He's got to hit his targets. We got football, and typically Winks defense against an opposing offense that actually is less of a detriment to the offense because he can't run everybody because you're going to burn them easily. You get him dropping back, a lot of times out of 10, you can find a sweet spot in his defense. You just got to make sure you can run the football. So if we can get to doing that, I really want us to rely on JK. I really, really want us to put the ball in this man's hand for at least 15, 20 carries. Because with the line gelling together with Ronnie Stanley back, Linderbaum, the rookie, off the chain, Morgan Moses, Kevin Zeitler, that line is coming together. If you please give this man his chance, because if you can get him going, I think Andrews and company will have a great day because you'll kill him in play action. But we got to establish the run, and we got to make sure on defense we tackle. Saquon is a big boy. Saquon is not easy to bring down, and we have issues with tackling on this team. You got to wrap this dude up, and you got to take him down. I'm not too worried about the secondary and the corners because for the most part, they've held up pretty well. It's no pass rush. Without the pass rush, the defense doesn't look great because we too are aggressive. But we lead the league in interceptions. We just have to make sure we wrap up on Saquon because a dominant run game is what is a killer to the Ravens defense for the last 4 or 5 years.
All right. Definitely appreciate that. The insight from both of you gentlemen. Look forward to seeing you both back on next week.
For sure.
And don't forget to hop by the chat, guys. Just let everybody know where they can find you.
Definitely.
Will do, man.
All right. So, guys, we got a couple of matchups here that me and Cedric are going to just go over some quick thoughts in regards to for everyone. So that'll be what we're moving to next. So, Cedric, first one we got here is the Carolina Panthers and the Rams. So I'll say this. The Panthers made the best move of the season by firing their coach. Reason being, the team quit on him. The city quit on him. Nobody wanted him there. That being the case, you had no choice. Now, also, a lot of reports are saying now that there's going to be a fire sale, right? Because, you're not going to be good for the next few years. Once you pretty much gut your roster, you're not going to be good for the next few years. So you might as well just go ahead and try to get more draft capital, expiring contracts, so you can kind of rebuild things that way. I think that's the way the Panthers should go. I don't see any other logical course of action for them. And honestly, a complete rebuild has probably been needed in Carolina since Cam Newton left.
Yeah.
And just tried to, stuff with one more player, one more this, one more that. It was never going to give them what they needed. So this was the course of action that they needed to take. They're going to be bad. They're going to be a team that if they beat you, you should be ashamed of yourselves. And though the Rams are not playing very well now, they lose this game to this Panthers team. And I got to say, if you're a Rams fan, I know you, do not respond to me for the next week. Because I will be giving you the most grief humanly possible.
I mean, they haven't been playing the best either. The Rams haven't exactly looked like the Rams winning the Super Bowl. They look like a team that went all in to win the Super Bowl, and now their backups just aren't that good. So, I mean, but at the same time, yeah, they should definitely win this game. I think it's about time for the Panthers to just sell what they can for what they can and get what they can and start over. I mean, you have a new coach, you might as well start over. They can trade the Broncos, pick up Russell Wilson. You know, they can get a Hall of Fame quarterback for, I feel like, at least just 2 first round. You know, but that's just me. But, you know, at the same time, I mean, the Raiders went on a little tear last season, you know, after Gruden was fired, and they had their little interim coach come in, the special teams coach come in. So Steve Wilkes at least has been, you know, a head coach before. The Rams should definitely pull this one out.
Yeah, Rams, there's no excuse. There is no excuse whatsoever known to man that you lose this game to this Panthers.
Who's the quarterback? Who's the quarterback for the Panthers?
PJ Walker is who is supposedly starting. They will not commit to him. I live in Charlotte, so I hear this stuff all the time. They will not commit to him. The coaching staff won't. But Baker Mayfield's hurt. He can't play. Sam, he's hurt. He can't play. So there's only 3 quarterbacks on the roster. So,
yeah, wasn't he like their first or second round pick?
He was a pick,
or not first or second.
Some years ago. He came from the XFL.
I thought they drafted a quarterback.
Sam Howell. He's not on the active roster. They don't have him playing. Apparently, from what they're saying, is he's a guy that needs the time to develop. So they're not going to put him out there until he's ready. And they don't see him being ready anytime soon. He's not even on the active roster.
They're tanking. So I mean the Rams better win it.
I mean, honestly, for most people, including myself, they were tanking the minute they put this team together and let their coach come back. They were tanking.
I mean, they got 2 first round. They got 2 top 5 picks on that team at quarterback. They should be winning.
This comment says they can see them pulling out a 31-14 win.
I can see it too.
I'll say anything's possible, but I just want to make sure if you're talking Madden when you're controlling the team or actually the team on the field.
Yeah, not a Cooper Kupp got a word.
Yeah, I think that's more like a Madden score, but hey, if you feel like the Panthers could do that with, pretty much their 3rd string quarterback,
hey,
you got McCaffrey, the receivers aren't playing with, it's crazy. And then the 49ers way here. Definitely hops in with I did tell y'all last week we would get rid of Rule and Baker for the Panthers fans. So I think the Panthers fans, I can actually say I know the Panthers fans blame a lot more on Rule than they do even on Baker Mayfield, because at the end of the day, if you have a poor coach, we don't really know what you can do. It's not saying that Baker's a great quarterback, but he's been a solid quarterback when he had decent head coaching.
When
he was not receiving that here in Cleveland. He had a couple of good years in Cleveland. He is not receiving that here. Here he's receiving what I would consider to be piss poor coaching, and that's why the whole team looks the way it does outside of McCaffrey. So now that you got him out the door, we'll see what happens, but they're definitely tanking. They're definitely going to lose. It's not much.
Well, trying to.
Yeah, I don't think they'll need to do much trying, but yeah, it definitely feels like they're in a fight with Seattle for the first pick now.
Yeah.
Definitely feels that way.
Hey, Houston's still in that fight too.
And then we have the aforementioned Seahawks and the Arizona Cardinals. Arizona. So there's arguments that the field goal was blocked, and that's what made it go wide right. The same position that he was kicking the ball before the game on that same field goal side. So find it a little suspicious. I'll roll with it either way. But the thing for me is Arizona lost a close game that they probably should have at least taken overtime. They have a better overall team. than the Seattle Seahawks. So they should beat the Seattle Seahawks. Geno is playing expired football right now, but it's just hard for me to sit here and say I think that Seattle Seahawks team is going to come out and beat this Cardinals team. Now, it is a divisional game, so you kind of throw records out of the side, but I look at actual talent. Like, I feel like there's just more talent, especially with injuries that Seattle has on the other side right now. And I feel like Seattle should be the one that's not winning this game. I think Arizona should come out and show them that, they got to have a bounce back week. What do you think about that, Cedric?
Is DeAndre Hopkins back this week or next week?
Next week.
Oh.
Have him in fantasy in multiple leagues. So next week.
Is Connor hurt? I think he comes back this week. I think Connor comes back this week.
Connor may be back this week.
I think he might be back this week. But yeah, man. Forget the Seahawks. No. I hope they lose all their games. But Geno is playing, system quarterback, playing in the system and just doing what he needs to do. And it's really kind of working out for them, whereas, it's kind of the opposite on the Arizona side, right? You got Kyler Murray this dude is a jazz trumpet player out there just freestyling his way through games and then getting mad at his receivers if they're not, But, yeah, man, I don't think it should be hard for Arizona to pull this out, though. They find a way to pull it out when they need to, and especially in divisional games, I feels like teams play a little bit harder. Geno ain't gonna win a game as much as he'll play through a game. I feel like, I guess I could say. So yeah, I feel like it'll come down to it, and Arizona just have a little bit more poise to pull it through and actually make those catches needed to be made.
All right. Definitely, man. I just want to say, before we transition to our next matchup, I just want to say we have a 49ers fan who wants the Seattle Seahawks to win. How cliche.
Of course.
But we'll go ahead and hop into this next matchup here. What's going on? Oh, there we are. All right. So we have the Bills rep, Big Derek, in the building today.
What's up, boys? How we doing?
Doing well.
What up?
And then we also have Ty Owens here with the correct matchup this time. Sorry about that, Ty.
Yeah.
And
what's up, man?
What's going on? So, Cedric, all you, buddy. All you.
Oh, man. Yeah, there's a lot of noise in my background. Sorry for that, guys, if you hear it. But no, I guess this is the game of the week, right? What everybody's been wanting to see. So, we'll go ahead and get to it, right? So Ty, you guys went down 17-0 to the Raiders. Do you think that's something you'd want to be, or a situation you'd want to be in again against the Bills? And if so, do you see you guys really pulling through like you did against the Raiders?
You definitely do not want to be down 17-0 against the Bills. No way. Yeah. No matter what team you are, the Chiefs are known for coming back with Patrick Mahomes, but the Bills, that seems insurmountable with the offense they have, the defense they have, and just the weapons they got on that team, even the running backs. I like the running backs. They've been singing. So, yeah, I just don't see a way you could fall down.
Good, Ty? We good? I think you might have froze. Derek, you good up there, man?
Yeah, man, I'm good.
So, I guess we'll just pass it over to you with that transition over. So, with that being said, what do the Bills have to do to come out hot and stay hot through the game?
I think you just said it, man. You got to start hot and stay hot. This has got to be pedal to the metal for 4 quarters. This can't be a thing where, you rest on your laurels. If you do get a lead, you can't sit back and say, all right, we're going to pop this into neutral and just coast it out. It ain't going to work. We've seen, we saw it last week. Pat Mahomes and the boys came back, and there's a lot of reasons that happened, but there's a lot of reasons it couldn't have happened also. They could have lost that game just as easy. There's a big turnover that got overturned late that, kept the Raiders in it. And, the Chiefs just aren't a team that you can sit back and miss on 3 of your first 4 drives and expect to be in the ball game with them. And the one thing I did see this past week that I think the Bills can exploit, if Derek Carr with one good receiver can take the top off that defense, we might see more where the Bills left off in the playoff game with the Gabe Davis deep ball show. They showed it twice last week, and I mean, it's one of those things. You got to hit those big plays, and you got to go for the jugular. One of my biggest beefs with the Bills, and we're talking like I'm a Bills guy, right? And I have a beef with this team right now. My biggest beef is we get the ball in plus territory on a turnover, and we're going to hand it off for a 2-yard gain. I want to go for the throat, man. Like I want to take a shot at the end zone right there. No stopping it. No, just we get a fumble, we get a turnover in plus territory. I want the end zone on that first play. And this is the type of game you got to do that. You got to take the opportunities, you got to take the shots, and you got to capitalize on them.
Yep. So Ty, I got a question, man.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think the way this is turning out, I mean, you guys, whenever you guys play, it's seeming to be like big moments, honestly, for the past few times. Is this turning into a rivalry, or what is this turning into to you?
Yeah, I think this is turning into it. I think it's really similar to like Peyton Manning versus Tom Brady. It's very similar to that. These are two teams that you wouldn't necessarily think are rivals, even though they're in the AFC. They're in two totally different divisions. Play each other. It seems like the last probably 3 or 4 years they played each other. Josh Allen always shows up. It seems like Patrick Mahomes always shows up. It's just like a showcase game. I definitely think it's a rivalry game at this point. Yeah.
All right. Cool. Any thoughts? Anything from you?
No, man. No, not at all. I think you pretty much handled it with both of these guys. Just, I guess, any last thoughts?
Yeah, before I wanted to say I agree with Derek definitely about what he said about Davis, Stephon Diggs. The Chiefs got cooked by Mike Williams on Thursday Night Football. They got cooked by Devontae Adams last night. They got cooked by Gabe at that playoff game, which I was at. When you got 2 deep threat receivers like that, and you got a very young secondary in Kansas City, I'm a little bit concerned. I'm not just a little bit concerned. I'm very worried. I might be losing sleep until Sunday about Gabe Davis and Stephon Diggs because of what Gabe Davis did last year in the playoffs was phenomenal. And he's been carrying it over this year.
All right. Derek, any last thoughts?
Yeah, man. I mean, if I got any concerns, it's can we slow Pat Mahomes down? I mean, we haven't done it yet. The offense looks a little bit more out of sync this year without Tyreek there, and I'm happy as all hell for that because when you got a dude like that, you got to cover and Travis Kelce. It's it's a tough order for anybody. The revamped front four. I'm thinking we're going to see a little bit more than a 4-man rush this week. That's been a little frustrating on my end too. And again, I'm sitting here nitpicking frustrations out of a 38-3 win. We're sending 4 dudes and wondering why our still pretty banged up and very, very young secondary is having some trouble at times, giving up some yards and giving up some plays, bending and not breaking. This isn't a game you can play that way. You got to get after the quarterback, and that's my big concern, is if we can't rattle Pat Mahomes, we can't get him off his game, we're looking at a shootout, and I don't like being in a shootout with the Chiefs. I just don't. That's just one. I don't want this game to come down to a coin flip, no pun intended. But I don't want it to be who gets the ball last is going to win the game. I want to be up by 2 or 3 scores going into the fourth quarter. I want to be pedal to the metal and saying like, all right, we got our foot on your throat. Let's step down hard. I don't want a 1-score game this week.
Definitely understand. So guys, I appreciate you hopping on. Definitely make sure you hop in chat on YouTube. Let everybody know where they can find you. And look forward to seeing both of you guys next week.
Thanks for having me, boys.
See you next week.
No
Have
problem.
a good one.
You too.
All right, and we're going to transition over to the 49ers Falcons matchup. Our Falcons rep could not make it this week. Hey, it's all good. It happens. But we do. our San Francisco 49ers representative, who I'm sure will have plenty of insights on both of these teams this week.
Absolutely, man. Appreciate y'all having me on tonight, man.
Absolutely, absolutely. So talk to us about what San Francisco will be able to do to get a win, and what the Falcons will be able to attempt to do to stop you. Just want to say before you go, we'll always assume that they don't hit your quarterback, he falls for a regular tackle, and they call a 50-yard penalty and give you an extended drive at the end of the game. We'll assume that that won't happen since it's not, certain people, but I digress.
Well, hey, man, I feel like we should get a free win handed to us because my quarterback had his ankle broken. So, I feel like that's worth, at least a win in today's NFL. So, when I look at the 49ers right now, what I see is a team who is starting to get back to being who they are, right? They're starting to find their identity. This is a defense that is playing extremely well. They're starting to run the ball again, which I expected them to try to establish this week. You also have Jimmy Garoppolo actually going out there and doing exactly what he needs to do. Being efficient, making third down throws, and not turning the freaking ball over. If we continue to do that, we're going to be a very difficult team to beat. But I will say in terms of the Falcons team, they're scrappy, man. Like, they're a team, people underestimated. But if you look last year, with basically no talent, they won 7 games. And this year, their coach has them playing hard. They're getting off to slow starts in games, which is why I think they've lost some of these games. But they have, in the second half, made adjustments, and that's coaching, right? They've made second half adjustments. They've gotten back into these games. We all saw what happened with the Tom Brady hit. Atlanta really should have won that game. That was stolen from them with that bogus call. So I'm not going to sit here and disrespect my opponent this week the way I did the Carolina Panthers last week. Because the Carolina Panthers deserve that. But, our opponent this week actually, I think they have a credible threat against us. Now, from a talent standpoint, the 49ers should win this game easily, right? If you're the Falcons, you have to be able to stop the run. You have to be able to force Jimmy Garoppolo into a mistake. You have to stop third downs. And you have to find a way to move the ball against my defense. And, you might be able to stack the box and stop the run. You might get lucky and Jimmy Garoppolo decides to have a bottom 10 Jimmy game where he goes out there and makes stupid throws and throws a couple of interceptions, has some turnovers. You might get lucky and had it happen. But then you still got to move the ball against his defense. And I don't see the Falcons being able to do that. They're without Cordell Patterson, their running game I don't think is good enough, even with all the injuries that San Francisco has. And even with Mosley down, we have enough depth at corner that my secondary is still really strong. And I don't see the Falcons being able to really exploit that. The only concern I have this week, we started to see it a little bit in that Tampa game. Marcus Mariota actually took off running a couple times and looked really good doing it. And then once the defense started to adapt to him running the ball, he actually pulled up and he threw some really nice passes in that game. I think that's the one opportunity that Atlanta has in this game is if Marcus Mariota can actually make our defense get off of their, get out of their track stances and not just rush and make a couple guys miss and pick up some yardage with his legs. That's their opportunity to move the ball against my defense.
Fair enough. What do you think? We know you think is going to win the game.
Of course.
But what do you think is going to be the important matchup? Defense versus offense, offense versus defense, special teams, field goals, punts, kick returns. What do you think is going to be that matchup that's going to really determine the game?
I mean, special teams could be a big factor in this game. We don't really know what the status of Robbie Gould is. He left with what's being described as a knee contusion. Probably will be able to play, but they are working out some kickers just in case he can't go. So if we don't have him, special teams could definitely be a huge thing in this game. You also have to look at, obviously, our running game, right? I mean, we all know if you can stop San Francisco's running game, you have a pretty good chance to slow this offense down. Everything centers around that running game. So I think that's going to be a huge matchup is can that Falcons front actually slow down the 49ers running game? And then for the 49ers side of it, you know, I think it comes down to you don't have to worry as much about the run. So you just have to make sure that you are not getting guys in mismatches against Kyle Pitts if he's going to be healthy enough to play, and Drake London. You just have to make sure that you keep those guys from matching up on guys that are a mismatch for them.
Definitely makes sense to me. You got anything, Cedric?
Oh no, man. I'm good. I think you guys got it all.
I will just say, I told y'all last week that Carolina Stadium was going to be red, and it was. This week, there's going to be a lot of red again, but it's not going to be Falcon red. It's going to be 49ers red. There will be another takeover going down this week. That's what we do.
Speaking of takeovers, there's a guy that's going to be coming on the matchup after next. Call him Fuji. And I think he'll have something to say about takeovers.
Hey, man,
but we'll leave that for then. Just a little precursor to what's coming.
Hey, you know, me and you had a conversation the other day, man. I have nothing but respect for the Eagles. Got to give it to y'all. We are the NFC West leading San Francisco 49ers, but y'all the NFC leading Philadelphia Eagles. So I got to give y'all props until else might knock you off. So.
And that's not going to happen this week. But appreciate you coming on, man. Make sure you hop in the comments and let everybody know where to find you. And we'll look forward to having you on next week.
All right, man. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. It's time to make this switch over to Jeff, who is going to be covering the Dolphins game for us. And that's going to be the Dolphins Jets game here. And then after that, going to get a little juicy matchup coming for you. So, Jeff, talk to us about this game, man. We're going to do it this way with you, Jeff, because you've done this a couple of times. Unfortunately, you're a professional.
I have. I don't know why my video's not working this week. I don't know what's up.
We can see you and hear you fine on our end.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I'm good. Yeah. You guys are the pros. It's been a tough week, man. It's been a tough 2 weeks. I'm not going to lie, as a Dolphins fan.
I get it, man. I get it. So talk to us about this matchup, man. I'm just going to let you tell us what you think. Who's going to win the game? Because I know you're a little iffy now. Why?
Yeah.
And I'll just let you. I'll let you have the floor, sir.
Okay, so I think the Vikings are one of the best teams in football, and the Dolphins don't have a quarterback. That is a very bad combination in the NFL. I don't know what the out clause, is here. As soon as I thought Teddy could have squeaked by last week. I was nervous about this week. And now I'm like, we're playing a much better team that is coming off some clunkers, but they're starting to feel their way. I just don't know how you score with them. I don't know. I don't know what the Dolphins offense can do to win a game until they get Tua back. I'm not even worried about getting Teddy back. He clearly seems like a guy that's a placeholder. He can keep things warm, for a couple quarters, but I don't think he's the guy that Minnesota had before the injury. Honestly, man, I don't know. The Dolphins could be at a state to where let's just mail this in for a couple weeks and then figure it out. I don't. This is where I talked about in the early season. This is where I don't know. Like a guy like Hill, is he going to go out there and really run his routes out? You know what I mean? Is he really going to give it an all-out try when he knows the ball probably can't reach him? And so then everybody starts slacking off, which is what happened in the Jets game. Nobody here thinks the Jets are, as good as they looked last week, but I think the Dolphins have been disheartened, especially after the Tua injury. I see Minnesota rolling. I don't know I suppose the path for the Dolphins would be maybe just go blitz crazy and get Cousins to check down and make some mistakes because he doesn't want any part of that. I suppose that's the game plan. As far as scoring points, I guess maybe you got a quarterback that nobody's seen throw, and maybe they don't know how to read him, and he just goes all out and just throws a lot of deep bombs. But it's been a pretty depressing week. It feels like we're going to come out of it. We're going to be a 500 team, and hopefully Tua comes back healthy and we can kind of restart the season.
Fair enough. So your opponents, what can they do to try to slide out this win this week? And do you think that even without, with your quarterback situation, that this is still a matchup that you think is winnable for you guys?
I don't. I really don't think the Dolphins can win this game. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and take my credibility. I'm just and we see it every week. Like I said that there was a couple games last week that I'm like, whoa, I didn't see that. But I just when you're on your third string quarterback, that is tough. Especially, I think the Vikings are a really good team, and what the Vikings are going to do, and this plays perfect in the Cousins' hands. They can dunk this game all day long, not make any mistakes. They could kick field goals on the drives. They don't have to reach for touchdowns or anything. It plays perfectly into what Cousins wants to do. And then you got Jefferson out there who's eventually going to cut loose. And, if they score 20 points, do we see how the Dolphins can score 20 points? I really don't right now. They don't have a running game and they don't have a quarterback. That's a tough situation to be in as an NFL team. So, yeah, I don't know. I guess the path to victory again is the Dolphins just go blitz crazy, try to get Cousins rattled, and maybe get some defensive touchdowns, and then maybe regroup after that.
Well, it's fair enough, Jeff. Any questions, Cedric?
No, man, it's crazy how the tone has changed. I say
2 weeks ago, man, I
Yeah.
was so happy. I'm lucky to be a Buckeyes fan. So that's getting me through. This, but my goodness.
Well, if we're going to talk college, my college team is doing nothing for me, but losing. So the Eagles are definitely getting me through.
Shout out to those Eagles, man. That's a legit football team.
Absolutely, and we have coming on next actually our Eagles rep and our Cowboys.
And he's bringing it. He's bringing it.
Right, it's the Eagles. The call.
He's got to bring it. But Jeff, appreciate you coming on, man.
Hey, I thank you guys for being patient. This is my third show of the night, but I did not want to miss it. So I'm so glad that you held out for me and let me speak my piece. And I hope next week I'm telling you how wrong I was and how I know nothing about them.
It's one of those situations where you're happy to be wrong, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, man. Don't forget to hop in the chat. Let everybody know where they can find you. And we look forward to seeing you next week, man.
See you, gentlemen.
Have a good one.
All right, it's been said earlier today, but I'm going to say, in my unhumbled opinion, this is the matchup of the week. We got the 5-1 Dallas Cowboys with their contributor here, Mr. Douglas Lewis Brooks Jr., the man, the myth, the legend. I'll give it to him. As a man who's covered the Cowboys here on the show, he's been very fair. He's been very honest and very unbiased in his opinions. And we also have the man here from the 6-0, the only undefeated team left in the NFL, the Philadelphia Eagles, here as well. So, guys, first off, how are you guys doing tonight?
Doing good. Thanks, Ed. How you doing? Cool. How you doing?
Doing well.
Mr. Brooks.
Nice.
And the crowd goes wild. The Cowboys
here in Philly.
Yeah, the Cowboys are here.
Sea of green going wild.
Bleeding Green Nation's in the house tonight, my
See,
man.
we can't even act like, even in this little setting here, we can't act like this ain't no bad blood. Let's just get this out the way. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to be professional, but it's
there's respect. But it's respect. It doesn't
but
have to be bad blood. It's definitely bad blood. It's got to be.
It's Philadelphia, but in the same thing could be vice versa. Says Dallas.
We're not gonna pretend that this is what the world is watching. This will be one of the most highest rated games of the entire season.
It will
the
be.
whole world watching because it's Dallas, Philly. It's just that simple. That's all I'm saying.
Just ring the bell. Let's get it on right now. Get the lights on at the lake. Get both teams here. We'll skip Sunday night. Throw the rule book out, and we'll just go head to head. The matchup of the week: Smash Mouth NFC East football at its finest. Let's go. I'm ready. I'm ready. 5 days, 5 days. Let's get it on now. I'm ready and pumped.
Yeah, call Rocky, call Allen Iverson, get all of them there. Get everybody there. Let little Rocky, Marvin Hagler, Bernard
call Michael Irvin, call Darren Woodson, we'll call Dawkins, dig up Reggie White, Jerome Brown, and bring it. Seth Joyner and the crew.
Yeah. This is beautiful. This is beautiful. You know, since it come on being diplomatic and all that kind of stuff, it's time.
Yeah, right.
It's
Just
time.
ring the bell and we'll come out slugging into the middle of the ring.
Let's go.
And the winner will be standing at the end.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll let you guys, get into the matchup. I'm just, moderating everything around.
You're
these
just
pieces,
the ref. That's all.
Yeah, exactly, man. Exactly. But I am not the ref from the Tampa Bay game. Okay.
Nah.
I don't believe that you take a defensive player and steal his sack and then call a penalty on him. I don't care what team you're on. That's garbage.
Agreed. But they'll give it to Brady all day, every day, every week.
And I
think that's something we can all agree on.
You cannot touch it.
You go first. I think this is going to be a close. I think this game could come down to the wire. 4-1 against 5-0. And I think who wins this game, I think it's going to be the big dog in the NFC right now. I think whoever wins this game is just going to be the team to beat down the stretch. Even though we're going into week 6.
If we just get into serious matchups, then this game will be determined as usual, but especially in this case, it will be the Dallas Cowboy offensive line versus the Philadelphia Eagle defensive line. And it will be the Philadelphia Eagle offensive line against the Dallas Cowboy front four. It's really that
right in the
simple.
trenches.
It's really is that simple. Whoever wins those matchups, in all honesty, that's who's going to win this football game. We could talk about AJ Brown and Smith and Lamb and Ezekiel and Pollard. You could do all that.
Right.
This game here is going to be won by those guys up front on both sides. And the wild card is, beyond a shadow of a doubt, Mr. Hurts, because of his running ability. If he gets loose, we're going to be in trouble. But if we can contain him, then it's even. Y'all have a wild card. We don't. What we have, our wild card is our defense. That's our wild card. Your wild card is Hurts running. I ain't he's passing. He's passing great. But that running the ball is going to be the problem for us if he gets loose. That's just my match.
Do you mean the Eagles are number one in the run, averaging 160 rushing yards a game? And my thing is, hey, just run right at Micah Parsons. Just let Hurts run wild and just keep pounding at the Sanders, run the ball down the throat. The old NFC East style football smash.
Help me out on this, because I'm surrounded by Eagle fans right here on this, even on this screen here. So y'all can help me out. I realize that the Eagles are 160 yards a game. But let's be honest. Take away Jalen Hurts' rushing yards. What do you have? Think about it for a minute. And keep in mind, a lot of Hurts yards, because that gets added on to the rushing yards.
No,
When you
of course.
take away Jalen Hurts' running yards, what really do you really have as far as rushing? Now, I mean, you can't take it away because Hurts is incredible as far as his
Well,
legs go. I give him credit.
I mean, I've been
Sanders
down
ain't
on.
all that.
I'm not saying he is, but he is having a great year, which he's in a contract year too. So, he's just, showcasing his talent in case the Eagles don't re-sign him come the off season. But, he's been staying healthy. He's pretty consistent. So, as you said, though, without Jalen Hurts yards, I mean, the Eagles got one of the best offensive lines in football, and hopefully left tackle Jordan Mailata will be back in the lineup. I'm sure he'll be back in there, no doubt. So, it is going to be one in the trenches. And the Eagles got to contain Micah Parsons. I mean, because he was in that backfield against Matt Stafford last week.
Nobody can hold him. So we're gonna let that go. Nobody can do nothing with Micah Parsons.
The Eagles. I would just say the Eagles run right at them.
Well, that's always been a benefit. If you run straight at them, that's what I would do if I was coaching. Let me say this though. We had a very serious problem with Washington as far as moving the ball against Payne and Allen. We couldn't get anything. We ran for 46 yards, I believe, the total game. I'm not well up there right at 60 yards. It is not going to be easy moving Davis and Cox. I mean, let's just be honest about the situation. And I ain't even got to Graham as well. And so we're running into probably, and Washington is stout right there. They had Sweat there. I'm using that as a model because I think Philly is just as good as Washington up front in the middle. And I want to see if we're going to be able to do it. And in the process, will Kellen Moore stay committed to the running game? Even though we didn't run well against Washington, we still tried in an attempt. I think we had about 28 carries that game. And I believe Cooper Rush will be playing. We do not want Cooper Rush throwing the ball 35, 36 times this game. No sense getting cute. You got to stay with the game plan that has brought us to the dance, made us 4-1, whatever we are right now. So that's my only thing. So.
Well, the Eagles right now are tied with Baltimore with 11 takeaways on defense in the NFL. And here's a stat for the Eagles and Dallas. Only 2 turnovers in 5 weeks so far. So they're evenly matched right there.
Yeah. So somebody's gonna make a turnover this game. It's got to happen. Just hope it ain't us. But I wouldn't be surprised if turnover or 1 or 2 turnovers is gonna turn this game. I will throw this in lastly, it just ain't showed up yet. Special teams is big. Special teams is big, and we got a guy that can change the whole game in Turpin if he gets a shot at it. And I think that's could be a little wild card within itself. That's the only thing that I can say. I don't look. Let me say this. Let me say this before you say anything. Whoever this 49er fan is right here talking in this chat right here, I despise y'all just as much as I despise the Eagles. So I really don't need your comment talking about. I'm just kidding. No, you're actually right. You're actually right. You're actually right. 49 away. I'm sorry. I'm just kidding. But y'all, we have a problem with the 49ers as well. I mean, but you know that because you got a problem with the Cowboys. So, but it's gonna be a great game. It's really gonna boil down to the big boys in the middle, both sides of the ball.
Oh, exactly. Up front in the trenches.
Yeah.
That's no doubt. I think it's going to be a defensive battle. I know Cooper Rush is probably facing the best defense in 4 weeks, 5 weeks. So, I think, I could see it being a 4-point game, whatever, less than the touchdown. So, it's battle for NFC supremacy and the NFC right now. I mean, who's going to be the big dog in the yard come 11:30 Sunday night?
We coming. We coming. I got us. And, ain't no sense in me lying about it. I got us. We going to come down there and shock. It ain't going to be a shock to the world because this defense we got, it wouldn't be a surprise by no means.
No.
It ain't no surprise. It's not an upset. Let's get that real straight.
No.
We got to kill a defense.
I'll say this as an Eagles fan and an NFL fan. The Eagles really haven't played 4 quarters of football. And this will be the game they got to do it. No turnovers, if you got to play smart football, that's all I got to say. Cool. Right across the board.
Everybody going to be at their best Sunday night. It's going to be crazy.
No, yeah.
It's extra hype. It's going to be extra hype on Sunday.
This is the NFL showdown of showdowns.
Ain't no doubt.
No doubt. Everybody always loves Eagles and Cowboys.
It's big games, man. They always have a big, fight feel. The Bills-Chiefs game will be a good game. It'll be the big game early. But there's a reason why this game is the 8:30 game on Sunday night when everybody in America and the world will be watching. And I'm excited just because, truthfully, this is the 49ers way. I wanted to let you know that
I told you. Didn't I tell you? I told you. Yeah. Didn't I tell you? See, I already know. I know. Absolutely. I know. It's a problem. Look, Steeler fans, 49er fans, Eagle fans. That is the Cowboys. That it's a problem. It really is a problem. It really. It's deep.
Douglas. Nobody likes us, and we don't care. So
that's right. That's how we live. Flipping Philly. Nobody likes us. We don't give a blank.
Exactly. So guys, I'm excited about this matchup. Obviously, fan of the Eagles, but even as a fan of football, like you said, there's certain matchups that are just big matchups. So this is a big matchup. So excited about it. Excited to have it happen this Sunday night. Excited that we get that coveted prime time slot to show everybody who we are. So both of you gentlemen, appreciate you hopping on tonight. Look forward to seeing you next week. And also make sure you guys hop in the chat here on YouTube and let everybody know where they can find you.
Okay.
Sunday night, we'll see you.
Yes, sir.
8:30.
It's gonna be a good one. Either way, it's gonna be a good one.
Sunday,
8:30. Live in Philly.
Yes, sir. Match 1 of 2.
Turn that rocket music off. Nobody want to hear this.
Mamas don't let your babies grow up to be Cowboys.
I think that's in your mind there, man. I think that's in your mind. Because I don't hear it. You know what I'm saying?
All right. We come to the ring. We come to ring the Philly Bell on Monday night.
All right, we're ready. We're ready. We're ready to ring that bell now. Let's go.
All right, man.
Have a go on. Thanks, cool and said. Take care,
no problem, man. See you guys.
Guys.
Have a go on.
All right, so guys, we're gonna do something here. We're getting near the end, so we're gonna do a little double take here. So we got our Packers contributor, Mr. Trey Larkins, hopping on, and we also have that last game between the Chargers and the Broncos. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna do a little bit of a combining thing here. So as a lot of you are probably aware, Sid is a Broncos fan. So Sid's gonna talk to us a little bit about that matchup. Who's gonna win that? We should be getting Trey back here in a minute. Once we get Trey back, we'll have him talk to us about this Packers game and what they need to do to win. So Sid, set it off for us, man. Talk to us about this Broncos game. What can you guys do to win? And what can the Chargers do to come out of this game with a dub? Big NFC West matchup.
Yeah, man. Big AFC West matchup.
AFC. I said NFC.
Everybody is. I mean, it's crazy because everybody thought the AFC West would be the big dogs. I mean, it's looking like the NFC East is a little bit above the AFC West. But I mean, what can the Broncos do? Just pretty much get in the end zone. That's been their biggest issue, is they have not been able to score. I look at this as a good week for them to actually get the ball punched through. I think Mike Boone's going to sneak through. He's been running really hard these past 2 weeks coming in. He actually ran better than Melvin Gordon last week. So I hope they really build off that. It'll be interesting to see what they come out to do at quarterback with Russ. His procedure wasn't really necessarily like a big deal, but he's still hurt. So hopefully we do lean a bit more in the run. And I mean, the Chargers are going to do what the Chargers are going to do. And that's what I'm counting on, is for the Chargers to do just that. Let them, get a 500-yard game and not do anything and give us the win. But, I mean, the Broncos have been kind of doing what the Broncos do lately either. So it'll be an interesting matchup. It's a divisional matchup. I expect it to be low scoring, but I think the Broncos are going to have a bounce back. We need to have a bounce back if we want to stay in this race, so we'll see.
And Trey, what's going on? Glad you were able to get everything straightened out, man. We just kind of combining the last 2 games here. So talk to us about this Jets game and what you guys can do to win this game, and what, if you have any concerns about what the Jets may be able to do to steal a victory from you.
Oh, I think it's going to be important for the Packers to stay consistent and stay committed with the running game. I thought that last week in the matchup against the Giants, it was a total collapse by the Packers offense in the second half. Can y'all hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Yep.
Okay. It was a total collapse by that Packers offense in the second half. And I was disappointed in Matt LaFleur and Aaron Rodgers, because I thought they should have stayed committed to the running game. Aaron Rodgers, he had 39 passing attempts in that game, and Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon combined only had 19 rushing attempts. And I don't like that ratio for the Packers when it comes to run pass options. I think you need to run the football more with your dynamic running backs in Jones, in Dillon, and then you can open up the passing game for Aaron Rodgers and that offense. Also, offensively, we've been talking about how the Packers are going to miss Devontae Adams. That's true, but they also miss Marquez Valdes-Scantling, who went and signed with the Kansas City Chiefs in the offseason. The Packers have.
Oh, looks like we lost Trey again. Yeah, but I mean, he's right. Like what he was saying, I can pick up for him right there, because I think it's pretty common knowledge. Like, you're missing Valdes-Scantling as well as Devontae Adams. So you got a whole lot of new guys. Randall Cobb's the only guy that really has rapport with Aaron Rodgers from the wide receiver position. That's a problem, going into the season. I think a lot of people expected that to be a problem. And it is showing itself. I think sometimes front offices get too smart for their own good. You don't deal Devontae Adams. Like, I'm sorry. You don't. If Devontae Adams wants more money, do you know what you say? We're going to have to cut some other people, and Devontae Adams has to get paid.
Right.
Devontae Adams, they're going to be the difference between this team being a team that's making it to the NFC Championship game, trying to make it to the Super Bowl, and a team that's picking early in the draft. That's what we're looking at right now.
Especially if like you're at the end of Aaron Rodgers and not the beginning of Aaron Rodgers. Like, why would you try to create something entirely new? Like he's retiring the next, if not after this season, and like that was some pretty bad moves in their part for sure.
Yeah, that was always going to come back to shoot them in the foot. It has come back to shoot them in the foot, and it will continue the rest of the season. Hopefully some of the young guys that they have at wide receiver are going to be able to step up. Maybe they can build some rapport with Aaron Rodgers. But just truthfully and 100% honestly speaking, man, it's tough. It's hard to lose that type of production. It's hard to replace that. And we've seen that from other teams. We're seeing that now. And we're seeing it as something that it's just not easy to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. So, what we're gonna do here, we pretty much talked about all the matchups. I do think Green Bay is gonna get the win this week, just because I think the Jets are up and coming. They're gonna need a little bit more time, a little bit more seasoning, but they're getting there. They're getting very close to being a team, that can win games. So everyone, appreciate you for watching. Make sure you share the show. Hopefully you've liked the page. Hopefully you've subscribed. If you haven't, please do so. And, we look forward to bringing you all the matchup again next week. There'll be some changes. You'll be seeing some new faces. But, hey, it's part of what happens. But be well aware. This is Matchup Madness. Every matchup, every week. And it's always a little madness involved. So until next week, everyone, appreciate you guys. And we signing out.